Hi friends, I'm speaking on a day of Black Day of for Indian workers. Maybe the powers that be wanted to give a delayed but sardonic gift for May Day. Yes, I'm talking about the late night ordinance by UP government on suspending all the labor laws, almost all the labor laws for 3 long years. Only three labor laws will be applicable in the state of UP for the next 3 years: the Bonded Labor Act, the Wages Compensation Act, the Construction Workers Act, and Section 5 of Wages Act, which gives the timely payment of wages to the workers. All other acts, including Factories Act 1948, Industrial Disputes Act 1947, Trade Union Act 1926, Minimum Wages Act 1948, all have been temporarily suspended. The word temporary is 3 years here. Of course, UP is not going to be the only state. Already, Madhya Pradesh government has also announced that it is planning to suspend major major labor acts for the next 1,000 days. That is again close to 3 years. And now you can expect other BJP ruled states, Haryana particularly, and maybe Karnataka also, will follow suit. As I said, Indian workers also always suffered from three types of insecurity: job insecurity, income insecurity, and social insecurity. Now we can also add one more insecurity: political insecurity. It's a complete apathy to the plight of laborers right now. When the migrant laborers are being charged for going back to their villages, a lot of reports are coming, though officially the government denies it, that the state governments have to pay for the tickets. But reports coming in the media, direct reports, but after talking to the people who travel, say that they are paying for their laborers themselves are paying, and they have been left without jobs for the last 1.5 months with absolutely no security. Now there's a complete apathy. I won't even call apathy, a disdain for the welfare of the people. This is continuation of the anti-people, anti-poor people, and anti-laborer policies. And this has come at a time when people cannot even come out and protest against such draconian announcements. The history of labor welfare in India is very checkered. The British government, the colonial British government, has passed a lot of laws to protect the interests of the laborers, and in independent India, and supposed to be by democratic governments, are taking away all the rights which have been painstakingly given, fought for by great leaders. In England, after the Industrial Revolution, factories were established, the textile factories of Lancashire. The working conditions were very, very bad. So there have been a lot of protests, strikes, And one man, Sir Thomas Percival, was instrumental in passing the first Labour Act, first Factories Act 1890. Whereas similar textile factories are also started in India, in the Bombay Ahmedabad belt and in other places. Because there are no similar laws in India, the Indian made textiles are much cheaper. So there are a lot of pressure by the British industrialists to enact similar laws in India to protect the rights of laborers, to reduce the number of working hours, to have a minimum age for working in factories, to provide health and safety features for laborers. All this will increase the cost of production in India so as to reduce the competition from Indian made goods. But it took a great liberal, a Gladstonian liberal, Sir Ripon in 1881 to come up with first Factories Act 1881, which for the first time prohibited child laborers 7 years. Children below the age of 7 were prohibited from working. Then a Royal Commission on Labour was also set up 1889, and on the basis of that report, Second Factories Act 1891 was passed, which disallowed the working of women in the night times, which provided more safety features for the workers like fencing of dangerous machinery, etc. But this was only a start. Many other factory acts were also enacted by the British. Factory Act 1911, Factory Act 1922, Factory Act 1934. Slowly the minimum age was increased, the maximum working hours were set. Of course, Indian labor movement was started when, for the first time in independent India, a labor union was started in Madras by B.P. Wadia, a stalwart of Indian labor movement, a home leaguer in 1920. Later, All India Trade Union Congress was also established with Lala Lajpat Rai as the first president. And due to their efforts of people like Lokawande, S.A. Dange, Singaravelu, Ghulam Hussain, to name few leaders, Indian Trade Union Act was enacted in 1926, which is still in work, which is also now suspended in UP. Factory Acts after 19 independence was modified in 1948, later amended in 1987 to provide more rights to the workers. Now there is no minimum age. Even children can, in UP, children can be employed. No minimum working hours. They can be worked like slaves. There is no health and safety factors like providing helmets, providing air plugs to prevent from noise pollution. Nothing in UP. No trade union act. There is no right for collective bargaining, because, as I said, Trade Union Act is also not applicable. Industrial Disputes Act 1947 is not also applicable, under which strikes and lockouts can be done. They are legal under certain circumstances. There is a tribunal. This is also now suspended. There are provisions for arbitration and conciliation to resolve the dispute between the workers and the employers. Nothing. It is nothing but a slave labor. All the work of last 150 years has been just taken away by an ordinance. Minimum Wages Act is not applicable. Though Minimum Wages Act is there in every state, it is not even followed. Instead of strengthening the acts to provide relief to the workers whose livelihood has been destroyed by the lockdowns, which have been completely unplanned, such anti-people policies are being taken. And this is for 3 years. And they say it is a temporary measure. And the reason which is given by the UP ordinances to provide a climate for investment in UP. Why UP is not getting investment? Of course, the traditional historical reasons of being far away from the sea to facilitate import and exports. Ports are far away. Of course, there are no minerals available in the Gangetic plain in UP and Bihar because of the rich alluvial soil brought by the silt by the rivers for thousands of years from Himalayas. So the native rocks, we don't even know. They are kilometers below the rich sediments which make UP and Bihar the very good for agriculture. Nature is not in favor in UP and Bihar. But more than that, the present day, the lack of investment in UP and Bihar is mainly due to lack of infrastructure and law and order problems. You know, one of my staff was from Meerut. He never used to travel to Meerut from Delhi in night after 7 o'clock. He said it's too dangerous. Meerut is 150 kilometers away. You can be kidnapped anytime. There is no roads, there are no electricity outside the major cities. Even in cities like Noida, which is just outside Delhi, satellite city of Delhi, electricity is not available 24/7. But Noida has a lot of Noida, Ghaziabad, due to proximity to Delhi, has some industries. But go beyond that, British has established some industries in Agra, in Kanpur, and some handicraft industries are there in different places like Farrukhabad, etc., brass industry and all that. Apart from that, there is absolutely no industrial development in UP. Uninterrupted power supply, cheap power supply, good internet connectivity, good roads. This is infrastructure. This is what needed to attract investment. And law and order problem. You can be kidnapped anytime. If you got, if people know that you got some money, they will kidnap your children. Your life is, who will come and invest in UP and such? Then organized crime with the help of politicians and police is happening. Is the norm. It's not the exception. It's the rule. So this is the problem. Why UP is not attracting investment. And just they are making use of the pandemic to suppress the rights of the people, the legitimate rights of the people. As usual, the courts will not interfere because, as I said, the independence of every institution, including judiciary, has been compromised. Yesterday, a couple of days back, one judge, Supreme Court judge, has retired. He has said that in India, only the rich and powerful get the justice. Unfortunately, he has not raised his voice while he was serving as a judge. Maybe he has not got any post-retirement benefit. Maybe the sour grapes is making him to speak. This is the truth. I speak the truth. What I see as truth. Very, very sorry state of affairs. And it is just unthinkable that such things are happening. They are pulling us into the mire, into the mud as a society. This is happening to us at the time of great distress to the people. Maybe our bodies, our decomposing bodies, pushed into the muck, will help the lotus to bloom. That's it.